Hey, what's up everybody? Manic here with my newest Let's Play. 2 challenge runs of Spyro the Dragon. To the left we have the no flaming challenge, and to the right we have the no charging challenge. So what I want you to do is place your bets on what is more valuable to Spyro, the ability to flame or the ability to charge. And the way that this will be determined is how far through the game I can progress without either or. And by that I mean best out of 120%, which is the maximum percent you can get into the game. How much can I get done without either flaming or charging? So before we start the run, let's have an introduction to Spyro the Dragon world with the opening cutscene.
Dragon's Age. We now have 12,000 treasure, or is it 14,000? What about this Gnasty Gnorc character? Now I understand he's found a magic spell to turn gems into warriors for his cause.
I'll take that question. Gnasty Gnorc is a simple creature. He has been contained in a remote world and is no threat to the Dragon Kingdom. No threat! Besides, he is ugly. That does it.
Looks like I've got some things to do.
The adventure begins! Just a bit of context for anyone here that has not played Spyro before, which I doubt anyone watching this won't have, but just in the off chance that there is. The history of Spyro the Dragon is Spyro is at this current point the only purple dragon, and I'm pretty sure somewhere in the lore it says that they don't come around very often. But what's happened is the dragons that live in the various dragon realms happen to have upset one of the meanest villains in the land, Gnasty Gnorc. Gnasty Gnorc is a villain that caused some previous calamities, and so the dragons all got together and banished him to the junkyard realm, which we will see much later on. In this junkyard realm, Gnasty Gnorc somehow finds a working television and notices that the dragons are being interviewed, in which case they're insulting Gnasty Gnorc for no apparent reason. Gnasty Gnorc gets enraged by this and casts a spell turning all of the adult dragons into crystal. Now I'm pretty sure that Spyro was also a target of this spell, but because he's very short, the spell went just slightly over his head and hit the dragon behind him, allowing him to kind of roam free. So this begins a quest really of Spyro the Dragon trying to save all of his dragon pals whilst also collecting Gnasty Gnorc's stolen treasure, which actually belongs to the dragons. Gnasty Gnorc, being a kind of warrior sorcerer, also turned all of the treasure in the dragon realms into villains. Well, I say almost all. There are a few treasures scattered about, as you'll see. So on the left, as I said, Spyro will not be able to flame. I've just done a flame to show you what one looks like, but unless it's by accident, I will not be using flame to progress at all. If I do happen to use flame by accident, I am not allowed to collect the gem that was a result of flaming. Now, there are 2 points in this game that are impassable without either charging or without flaming, and I'll come to those when the time arises. But know that they are not mistakes, they are points that I have been aware of that will not be passable, and I do make a small exception, else this challenge run would be cut short. But that is it. I will do my best to try and avoid it where possible. So, directly ahead of me is the main collectible in Spyro the Dragon. A dragon that's crystallised. To rescue the dragon, all we need to do is walk into it to release it. Thankfully we don't have to flame it, otherwise that would be a bit annoying. So we'll be trying to collect as many dragons along the way as possible and free them, where some of them actually join us in the fight against Gnasty Gnorc, although all of this happens off screen, else it would be totally badass to see that in action. So let's begin our challenge. Let's go and free our first dragon. Nesta.
Thank you for releasing me, Spyro. Free 10 dragons in the artisan world. Then find the balloonist. He'll transport you to the next world.
What about Nasty Nork? I'm going after him.
Find dragons first. That's all I can tell you.
The way I'm going to structure the commentary is I'm going to have the more casual let's play dialogue for the challenge on the left, and for the challenge on the right, if you skip further on in the video, you can hear the commentary specific for that video. Directly in front of me is a dragon pad. When a dragon is released, I can then use this pad for various things. It could be used to save the game, replay the dragon's advice, or just as a checkpoint, so that if I die, which is very unlikely in the home world, although you never know, I will be transported back to the dragon pad. This is very handy because it means at certain points in the challenge where I perhaps want to experiment, I don't have to worry too much about dying because I won't have to restart the entire level again. I can just be transported to the most recent pad I stepped on. On the floor before me you see the second main collectible of the Spyro the Dragon game, treasure. This comes in various forms. There's red, which is worth 1, green, which is worth 2, blue worth 5, gold worth 10, and the very rare purple worth 25. And of course, the more valuable a gem, the rarer it tends to be. Ways to collect gems include picking them up off the floor, breaking open various types of chests, or defeating Norks. This is the balloonist, Marco, and there's a balloonist at the end of every single world that will have some kind of quest for me to complete before I am allowed to progress. In this instance, I need to collect 10 dragons. Sounds easy enough. There's no treasure requirement right now, just 10 dragons. And then I'll be allowed to go to the Peacekeeper's homeworld, which is World 2. So, let's go and get some stuff. Following me around is a golden dragonfly. His name is Sparks and he acts as my health meter. Essentially it's a hit point system. I get damaged, Sparks relays this information. So he'll start with gold. If I take damage by, for example, jumping in this puddle, or pond, whatever you want to call it, he will then turn to blue to represent I now have 3 hits left. And then to green to represent 2 hits left. And then if I take damage again, he disappears completely, meaning I am now Sparksless. A phrase that I'll use quite a bit in the game. The only way to replenish Sparks is either by death, which we want to avoid if possible, or by running into fodder. Sparks will then reappear when I break open fodder, or a fodder will release a butterfly, in which case if Sparks is already still alive, he will eat the fodder and improve in health. Fodder comes in various forms. In this instance it's me chasing sheep, which is great fun when you can't flame them, but there could also be bats or llamas or chickens that count as fodder. These are non-hostile creatures and cause me no damage. Around the level you'll see Gnorcs. These are non-hostile as well in this world only, and it's kind of just so that you get used to the gimmick of destroying them to get more gems. Instead they'll run away from our dragon might and quiver in fear in some dark crevice. Now the annoying thing with Gnorcs is that when you enter a stage and then come back out, Gnorcs reappear, making it a bit difficult to remember which ones you've already defeated. Therefore, I usually try and defeat all of the Gnorcs in the homeworld before entering a level. That way it's easy to remember which Gnorcs I've already killed. There are a few features in the Spyro game as well. I can do a roll like this, and using the L1 and R1 button, and that's a dodge ability that was removed in future games for some reason. This is panning the camera using the left or right triggers, L2, R2 if you're using a PlayStation pad, and it gives me a better sense of my surroundings. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame that they removed the rolling ability because it does come in handy, particularly in these challenges. Triangle will zoom into directly in front of Spyro. Also, you can press X to jump, X twice to glide, square to charge, and circle to flame. This enemy I'm attacking now is a Thief Gnorc, and he's unique in that he has more than one hit point. And each hit that I give to him, he will drop a new gem. Once I've got all of his treasure, he will vanish, leaving a scattered treasure amount from his sack. Usually it's 3 red gems, so he's not the most valuable or skilled of thieves. So let's rescue our second dragon, Delbin.
Where's Nasty Nork? I'll torch him.
Keep your horns on, Spyro. You have much to learn first. Do you know what the dragonfly following you is doing? His name is Sparks, and he's helping and protecting you. Keep an eye on him and see what I mean.
Sound advice by Delbin, information I've kind of already said, but nevertheless information worth remembering. Sparks is one of the most important parts of the game. Without Sparks, you have to very awkwardly collect treasure manually, whereas when you have Sparks, he'll pick it up for you. Directly in front of me is a purple chest. Inside is a dragon crystal, which gives me an extra life. I've just broke open a chest as well. Chests come in various forms, as I said. The most common, the red chests, which can be charged or flamed open. Metal chests can only be charged open. And there are various other chests that we'll kind of bring up along the way. But yeah, because metal chests can only be charged open, it puts no charging at a big disadvantage in that there are quite a lot of chests that can only be charged. Argos.
The artisan's boss is through a portal in the dragon mouth, but you are not yet ready, Spyro. First you must complete one of the other artisan lands.
Argus is a unique dragon. He has 2 points of dialogue. Behind him is a dragon head that only opens once you have beaten any of the artisan levels. And then you can fight the boss, Toasty. But Argus has 2 pieces of dialogue. The first is if you have already beaten a world. The second is if you haven't. So let's enter our first level, Stone Hill. This will be the no charging challenge. If you want to see the no flaming challenge, it should be prior to this section. As part of the no charging challenge, clearly I cannot use the charging function. This means that metal crates and other stuff in Spyro will not be accessible to me, amongst other things such as specific enemies. The commentary for this video will more likely be a bit more direct than the no flame challenge. Since I can't charge everywhere, progression is a little bit slower. Therefore I won't be taking the time to explain every detail of the game, merely just the key points that regard the challenge. There is only one exception I have to this no charging rule. That is, there is a way where in mid-glide Spyro can use the square button just to get a little bit of an extra hop. This isn't charging, this is kind of, it's a bit of a glitch in the game's mechanics, whereby Spyro kind of tilts his head upwards to kind of get an extra hop in mid-glide. I do not qualify this as charging, but anyway, so that I cannot use this to kind of abuse the run at all, I am not allowed to use it to break open crates of any kind, since it would do that even if I was gliding. So now that the rules of this challenge are out of the way, I have entered a Speedway level, which is usually one of the more later things that you find out about from a dragon, as it is hidden. practically all Speedway levels are hidden in the home worlds in some place or not. But this one is pretty simple to figure out. There's a bunch of curious platforms, 6 in total, standing on each, and they turn yellow. So I've had to collect some arches, I've had to blow up some planes, and I've had to destroy some trains. So Spyro's been quite the vandalist right about now. And finally I'll have to go through all of these arches to get to the area where I can collect chests. Speedways are kind of, they operate in a function whereby there's a timer, and collecting each individual object adds time so that I have more time to collect everything else. Collecting a set gives me 60 gems, and that'll lead to a maximum of 180. If I collect all of them in one go without the time expiring, that will give me a bonus 60, totaling 300 gems, the max you can get from a Speedway. At least I think that's right, yeah. So yeah, that is right. So collecting all the chests will finish this level pretty easily for me. No struggle at all, 28 seconds remaining. It's a bugger for doing this actually. Whenever you go to the menu after you've finished, you want to speedily exit, but instead you accidentally press try again over and over again like a retard. Okay, Sunny Flight done already, that's the first level. Usually I'll go for the flight levels first if I'm speedrunning the game, purely because 1, it's the nearest portal, and 2, it's 300 gems quickly in the bag. This isn't a speedrun per se, but I will be trying to go as quick as possible due to not being able to charge. I'll want to make up time that would be lost by trying to be as quick as I can be. So as I said, I won't be explaining the game mechanics or anything like that really on this piece of commentary, purely because that will be already explained in the other part of the run if you're watching that. So if you're more interested in a casual let's play, I've already at this point completed the other challenge, and now I've started this one, so I already know what percentage I have got through the other challenge, and I'll be trying to beat that percentage with this challenge to see if I can get further. Also a fun thing to watch, no gliding challenge. It's a really good challenge to watch. Down here we have the balloonist. We can't go onto his balloon yet, we need to collect 10 dragons. The only way we can do that is by entering some more levels, since there are only 4 dragons in the opening home world. So I like to kind of collect gems that are in the home world first before entering other levels, except for Sunny Flight, and that's because enemies respawn when you go into a level and then come back out, making them a bit of a pain to track down. So I prefer to kind of go into worlds after I have got everything I can get. This before me is a whirlwind, which takes me up to the first level that I'm going to do as part of this run, which is Town Square, since the only gems that I haven't got are kind of in a known section in front of Toasty, so I know where the remaining gems are that I'm missing. So I can just go into Town Square without issue. But first I'm just going to go onto these rooftops to get the remaining gems. That red chest, get used to seeing me break open those because they're the only chests, bar one of a type, that I can access. I cannot access the metal chests due to them being flameproof. Well, I guess the actual description is that they're metal. So, starting off in Town Square. Get me some chickens, some KFC to replenish my sparks. Yeah, even Spyro is a KFC fan. I don't blame him. Medieval FC. Okay, so this is dragon number 4, I believe now. Yeah, 4. So we need 6 more. One of them is in the home world, so we're doing pretty good for dragons. And dragons won't really be an issue since you don't need to charge or flame them to access dragons. You can just merely walk into them. So dragon collecting should not be affected. It will be mainly gem collection. Spring box chest right there. Various different types. Luckily they can be flamed or charged, it's just by charging they're a bit more hassle, so if anything makes life a bit easier on this particular challenge. Since flaming them is a bit quicker, if you charge into them there's a bit of a debunk from Spyro's charge before you're allowed to jump. Toro, Flaming Bull. These chests here are what are metal chests, and flame does not open them. So get used to seeing me just bypass these chests. Up there to the left you just saw a gem sat on there. That's a whole different section of the level which we'll be accessing very soon. We can just glide around. Whee! Like so. In front of me is the biggest pain in the ass to this challenge, probably, the blue thieves. These egg thieves, they are much faster than Spyro's walking and gliding pace. Therefore, I'll have to be very creative in how I catch them. So, how will I catch this thief? Find out on the next episode.